Frankie, good morning. Very
Good morning.
happy Wednesday. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. Bit cold here in
Good.
Bournemouth, but yeah, all good. Um,
Yes.
Frankie, thank you so much for joining us here on our YMS speaker chat. I think it'd be really great just to have a quick overview of kind of who you are, what you do, and what brings you to this Zoom call this morning with us.
Sure, why not? Let's go for it.
So yeah, so do you want to tell us a bit about yourself,
Um, so I'm Francesca, better known as Frankie,
Frankie? Okay.
and have been in the marketing world for about 15 years, I'd say, or so.
Lovely.
Relatively in retail marketing, but have gone around the block, I should say. Um,
Marketing wise for
and
sure. And
yeah,
Frankie, three interesting facts that I certainly don't
oh
know,
gosh.
but maybe your work colleagues don't know about you.
Three interesting facts. Let's
Yeah.
see. Um, I had Jimmy Choo at my wedding, which is pretty awesome, pretty
That
cool.
is crikey. That is
Another interesting fact. I have abseiled down the orbit in Stratford.
brave. Okay.
So that yeah, that was and my nail did come off doing that, so that was fun.
I think
Um,
if that's the worst thing that happened, then it's fine. You know,
yeah, yeah,
that was
yeah,
the worst thing.
exactly. A third interesting fact. Oh God, I have two silver medals for Irish dancing. Very random. So there you go.
And didn't see that coming. Do you do that regularly? Is that like
No, no, I stopped when I was 10.
okay, well hopefully you still got it, maybe
Yeah, still got it after about a few wines and shots. Definitely
for
still
sure.
remember some
As in,
moves.
is that like as in like river dance when I think of Irish
Yep.
dancing?
Yeah.
Showing my age there, talking about river dance.
Yeah.
But such is. Brilliant, look, Frankie. Thank you so much for sharing those three facts. So I want to kick off by, I guess, maybe taking you back to your childhood, to Frankie growing up back at home.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first brand that maybe you fell in love with as a child that really resonated with you as you were growing up? What might come to
Oh, good
mind?
question. Um, I think there's probably I think there's two, maybe. And this will show my age
No.
when I mention them. So there was a butter or margarine called Vitalite back in the 80s, 90s,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they had a wicked theme tune. There's Vitalite when I wake up in the yeah, I'm not going to try and
It
sing
was,
it.
it was Vitalite. That's right. Is that right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And I was obsessed because it was sunflowers dancing. It had a little reggae thing, and I was like, yeah, love it. And so I every time we went to the supermarket, I'd see it and be like, yeah, let's buy a Vitalite because that advert was just great. And then Toys R Us,
Yeah.
the giraffe, he was just brilliant. And if I saw that coming on the advert, I most definitely would want
Yeah.
everything. I had a Toys R Us giraffe lunchbox. I remember it was red and had the giraffe on it, and that resonated with me and really made an impact. And when I heard they were coming back in smaller form, but coming back, and I was ecstatic. Even though it's been about 25 years, but
But look,
yeah,
interesting that the brands that we grew up with as a child, many of them still do carry through or come back, to where we are at
yeah,
right today.
exactly.
And also interesting that both those brands, Vitalite, I mean, I didn't expect you to say Vitalite, but that's fine. Vitalite and Toys R Us, both incredible, like sort of like midnight, late 80s, early 90s, like jingles,
Yes.
that
And I
theme.
think it was a theme tune. I think it was like the theme tunes that came with it, the
Yeah,
animations, and it just stuck. It's just stuck so many years later. So
I
they
definitely feel like
definitely did something right.
it's a charm that I think kind of maybe has been lost a little bit
Yeah,
in today's scene. But nostalgia is certainly on the rise. So yeah,
definitely,
you know.
definitely.
Well, look, thank you for sharing. Is Vitalite still about? I don't think it is.
No, no, it's not. I reckon it could make a comeback.
No, listen, I think it's down the volume of ingredients that are in it.
The theme tune alone.
Yeah, for sure. Let's make a campaign. Cool. So Frankie, it'd be great. So look, thanks for sharing that. So we've got a
No
little bit,
worries.
the brands that you fell in love with, or that resonated, those like catchy theme tunes that those were those
Mhm.
those sort of nostalgia brands. Could you talk us through a little bit about your journey and your path moving into the marketing world. I think you referenced around 15 years you've been in the space,
Yes.
but probably retail. Yeah, what did your path look like? Did you know that was an area that you wanted to move into, when you were growing up?
So I was always really into writing. I
Mm,
loved writing. Um, but I loved advertising. So definitely business as a whole was an interest of mine. And it was when I did business A levels, in which there was a marketing module,
mm,
and I thought I was amazing at it. That I got an A in like one of the modules, and spoke with my teacher at the time. I thought, you know what, maybe there's something in this for me. I like talking to people. I like ideas. I like bringing things to life. Maybe there's something in there. And
mm.
literally from the age of 15, that's kind of like the path I decided I was going to go on. And then I went on to do my marketing and French degree. And from that, sadly, I graduated when there was a recession and no one was hiring. But needless to say, I ensured that I did some placement. So I did a placement for a ski company within their marketing department. I then went and did internships with PR agencies.
Yeah.
And I remember when I graduated, I designed a postcard of myself saying, your new marketeer has arrived. And it had a picture of me in my graduation, my name, and behind it had my skills and contact details. And I posted it, as in stamped post. There was no
Yeah.
digital back then, to about 50 companies. And that postcard landed me my very first marketing assistant job. So extremely grateful. I got an internship out of it for a hair and beauty company and my very first role. So, you know,
That's
thinking
fantastic.
outside the box. But yeah, that, and then kind of my journey's just grown from there. I started in retail and continued. Um, and it's been amazing. I've learned something in every single role I've been in. And then kind of went into attractions for a little bit, and local government, and just really understanding marketing in all those various different industries. So
Mm. And
yeah, so my journey's grown since then.
really broad. And retail is like your first love, would you say, or what's like your passion point?
Yeah, so I in my as a youngster, I thought I'd be in the travel, like, I really want to work in the travel industry, and then I ended up being in the retail industry, and then just couldn't leave. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. I loved what came with it, the excitement, the fast pace of it, and I think it was very much understanding customer
Mm,
and me as an individual. Like, why am I attracted to certain brands? How are they speaking with me? And why am I spending my money here and not there, and so forth. And then that has just grown rapidly over the years. So I've ended up being very much in love with the retail marketing world.
fantastic. And you just wrapped up, I believe it's like a year's worth of work on content and campaigns with Ann Summers.
Yes.
Can you share some insights on what it's like working for a brand that's very much like pushing boundaries, changing perceptions? Yeah, it'd be great to hear more about that.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. I've been very much a fan of Ann Summers in the sense of what he does for women, what Jacqueline stood for before in empowering women and giving them a space. And Summers, like you said, is very empowering. They push boundaries. And this year we've done some phenomenal work, especially in diversity and inclusion. I did a big piece around pride, which was great and well received. We did some great partnerships as well, and all of our campaigns have really worked with understanding the customer that we have and the ones that we want to acquire as well. So we've done some great work from start of the year all the way now to what is our Christmas campaign that everyone will see, and some very much exciting work to come as well.
And is the Christmas campaign out? It's been launched or
Yes,
it's launched? It's
yes,
launched.
it's out, and it's very much, it's going back to our roots of feeling sexy and feeling empowered, and that's who we are, and that's what we're running with and going with. And and standing by, and that can be seen within our campaign at the moment.
I think that word that you just used is like really strong, like standing by your brand values, standing by
Yes,
what you believe in, and really sort of having the confidence to push those messages out. I think it's
exactly.
so very important. And you've referenced some really exciting partnerships that you've been doing. Anything like come to mind that you're able to share? Any of the brand partnerships?
So I've done some phenomenal partnerships in most of my roles, but specifically for Ann Summers, we partnered with Burlesque the musical
Very.
this
I've
year.
not seen it, but I know someone. One of my friends is actually in it, but I've not seen it. But
Oh, amazing.
yeah.
Phenomenal show, absolutely phenomenal show. And they opened our Trafford Centre store,
Oh wow.
which is one of our flagship stores for us, and it was an amazing partnership, and it's something that a lot of retailers probably don't tap into or look into, but the theatre world and engaging with that customer, and how you can align and come together from a retail partnership to a musical theatre world is amazing, in terms of the costumes that are worn, what you can um, sort of sell on to the customers or visitors, goodie bags, the
Mm,
PR value behind it as well when it comes to launch night and step and repeat boards, and having your brand piece out there. I think speak volumes, and it's not worked on enough, but luckily for me, I've worked a lot with partnerships with theatres in the past. So I thought, hey, bring it to Ann Summers, and it's worked phenomenally. That we will be working with them again. So keep your eyes peeled for sure.
but absolutely, that's such an exciting partnership, and also being able to touch those audiences night after night as well. It's like
Exactly.
so very powerful. In today's world of everything's digital, you've got this audience that's
Yep.
ever evolving every night, like hugely exciting. Um, and you're speaking at our youth marketing strategy event, which,
Yes.
well, it's December now, the event's in June, so it seems a long way away, but like time goes
Time
fast.
will time will go fast.
Exactly. So you're speaking at the event in June, and here at Pion, we live and breathe youth culture, youth
Mhm.
marketing, and very much have the 1624 at the forefront of our mind. What do you feel is one of the biggest challenges for young people like growing up today, whether it's from a brand perspective or personal?
I think there's a lot of noise,
Yeah.
and you're getting information from so many different platforms, from so many different avenues, and it's who do you listen to and when and why. Do you go with, for example, shopping, do you just go with the cheaper option or not? Do you listen to your friends or listen to what's online? They're heavily influenced by influencers, which is a big part of marketing now, which
Yeah.
wasn't before, but in a very different way. So I think there's a lot of noise at the moment, and to really tap into the Gen Z market, you really have to understand them, or how you give value to them. I
Mhm.
think is key. So yeah, it's challenging. I think it's not so easy as before. If I think back to when I was probably in my teens, there were specific stores I'd go to, Mark One or Tammy Girl, pretty much on the high street, and you'd go shop.
Yeah.
But now you've got so many different platforms online. You've got so many different e-com retailers. Like, where do you go, and why are you shopping with them? And everyone can be influenced by someone.
Mm.
So it's all about posting it online and tagging, and being part of that community. So yeah, it's definitely challenging, because I think there's just so much noise around that. It's like, how do you hold your own in that? So yeah, I think that would probably be the biggest challenge at the moment.
I think that's like a really like a strong sentiment. Like, how do you, whether it's a brand or a person, how do you hold your own in that noise?
Yeah.
Like really interesting. And in terms of young people today, their perceptions of the Ann Summers brand,
Hmm.
what do you feel that like looks like, and how do you feel like maybe that's evolved over time?
um it's definitely changed, I think. I think probably, if I think back when I was about 18, it was a lot of the times for you'd go in and you're like, oh my God, you've gone into Ann Summers, or,
Yeah,
like the boys would go in and you're like, oh, I'm going to get my girlfriend this, or, whatever it is. And you wouldn't tell anybody, you kind of go in quietly and,
it's a bit
and
cheeky.
hide. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I'm being naughty, sort of starts on it. And I think it's definitely evolved and changed now. I see uni students going in, not hiding, proudly going in and asking questions. And I think it's something that wouldn't have happened sort of 20 years ago. You'd kind of go in and you'd ask a friend something, but you wouldn't really talk about it with an expert within the store. And obviously we talk about a lot about bra fits for women, and I think that is something very important, and definitely helps with growing, especially for women. So I don't think it's evolved and changed. I think the perception of being empowered no matter your size as well has
Mm.
changed a lot, because I grew up in the 90s and noughties where it was a certain figure that was the only thing you'd ever see, but now it's very different. And I think with Ann Summers we showcase that really well, especially with online. So yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. And I think um the audience, Gen Z audience, has definitely growing within the brand, and they definitely buy into it, especially when we talk to students during Freshers Week and we educate them on things. And I think that is what speaks volumes and differentiates us from probably our main competitors.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And on, the YMS event in June that you're going to be speaking at, be great to hear a bit about what you'll be sharing. Although I imagine between now and then,
Yeah.
it will change slightly. But yeah,
Probably.
what is it that you're looking forward to sharing with our audience? What is it that you're looking forward to? I guess, getting that message across. Well, what does that look like?
Yeah, so brand partnerships is something I'm very passionate about, have always been within all my roles. And I think I'll be speaking on that quite a lot, is understanding when to do those partnerships, how to sort of work around nurturing them. A lot of the partnerships I have and still bring sort of to my role are people I've partnered with 10 years ago. For example, Burlesque, I worked with the company and production company for years in many different roles and still work with them today. Hotel partnerships, and it's nurturing them and understanding the value you can bring to them as well as what they can bring to you. And
Absolutely.
how do you go about that? And you might think, oh, it's just a partnership for this brand, but no, understand that when you get your little black book ready and have those names and own them, and really build bit relationship building, but relationship building in a different way, that you completely understand them as a business and a brand, and understand where you're working and how you can come together. So yeah, I'll be sort of expanding a little bit more on that, and the real value of it within the marketing world.
Fantastic. Frankie, there's so many great brand partnerships out at the moment, or that have come about over the past year or so.
Yeah.
Any that come to mind that have been really inspiring for you, that that you wish you'd been a part of, that kind of got
Oh God,
going?
all the greats, obviously. This year there's been so many that everyone's kind of been like, huh, where has that come from? But somehow it's worked. I don't know if you remember, I think earlier this year there was Nike and Tiffany and
Yes,
Co. collab,
very
which was
favorite.
insane, because we all relate Tiffany to, diamonds and
Yeah,
that exquisite jewelry, and then Nike is like urban and fun. So that was amazing. And Absolute Vodka and Heinz did a collab, and I think that came out the back of like the vodka pasta,
yeah,
possibly that was doing the rounds. And also, I think Heinz have just been doing amazing collabs this year. They had even Barbie, and another one that I thought was amazing was Airbnb and Lego. They had a massive Airbnb of like what looked like a Polly Pocket.
yeah.
um,
I wasn't familiar with that one, but I need to check that out.
Yeah, so yeah, though, like from the top of my head, those have been amazing brand partnerships, and it got people talking, and that's what you want,
Absolutely.
and
Like
and resharing.
Tiffany and Nike, Heinz and vodka, Airbnb and Polly Pocket.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Thank
can't
you.
go wrong.
Yeah. Frankie, well, look, thank you so much for sitting down with us this morning,
No, thank you for
and
inviting me.
sharing those insights from Irish dancing all the way through to burlesque. You know, like really, will you be getting up on stage at YMS and giving us a bit of
Oh, give a little jig. I'll have to have
maybe
about two, 3 shots
yeah, maybe like
before.
the networking part afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Frankie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.